G'day YouTube, warbles on a lot here. This is the view inside the new 6,500 litre tank, which has already had one load go through it. This buoy wall's got 1,200, maybe 1,250 litres in it. So we shall see how good my ability to estimate volume and pump rates is, because the water truck's on its way. Top buoy wall's now got a new ultraviolet cover, and there's the water truck. Hark! I think I hear 10,000 litres of water coming up the hill. There we go. I better open the gate for him. Ain't it a big one? Easy peasy, Japanese.
Huh?
All you got to do is pay the money. We are kind of approaching the limit for this pool. Time to move on to the other one. And this is how we get the last bit of water out of the tank, which is otherwise coming up nicely. So now we'll see if we can get some overflow into the number one tank. Okay. "23 tonnes this truck weighs when it's full of water. And that is a $200 exercise for 10,000 litres. That is the industrial rain dance response. Isn't technology wonderful? And just for the sake of the continuity, there have been some recent developments in my next door neighbour's solar electric artesian water project. Yesterday I heard some clang, clang, clang noises, sort of like a sledgehammer. So I come down to see what was going on, even though I'd already had 6 beers. Happily, I was still able to make a bit of sense, because the clang, clang, clang noises was being caused by these mountings being hammered into the ground, getting ready to be concreted into place. And it's kind of fortunate that I showed up when I did, because at some point in the proceedings, that trench managed to get itself dug, lined up east-west. So whereas the solar panels really kind of need to be oriented to north, it's not going to work this way. If you line the panels up to face north, which is where they've really got to be, then the east panel will shade the west panel. And if you line the panels up so that they look nice and neat, you're going to have to wait till about 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe even midday, before you can get any electricity out of the panels to run the pump to push the water uphill to the tank. I don't know, but I think somehow whoever it was that was running the backhoe got themselves a bit turned around, and they've dug the mounting trench east-west instead of north-south. But like I said, happily, some drunken old greenie heard the clang, clang, clang and decided to be a sticky beak and go down the hill and see what was going on, even though he was drunge at the time. And even being drunge, I was able to notice that this thing was skewed 90 degrees out of whiff. So, managed to save my neighbour a bit of money and a fair bit of embarrassment, because catching a mistake at this stage, not a problem. Catch the mistake after you've poured the concrete in the wrong hole, major bloody drama, eh? So anyway, think of that as a tale of two different industrial scale rain dances. I think this is what you call the $20,000 stage 1 version, whereas mine was the $200 quick fix. This one is probably going to come out at something much closer to $50,000, because the idea is to run polypipe all over the 950 acres. Whereas I am only trying to water the couple of acres that I live on. I think I've put out about 3.5 millimetres on that couple of acres with me 10,000 litres. I think that figure's right. And that would be disappointing if it were not for the fact that the entire month of July I got 4.05 millimetres of rain. So I don't think I've done too bad, considering the height of the hill. Old mate's trying to water his livestock, whereas I am only trying to be the coolest, wettest, greenest spot on top of the hill, in the hope that an approaching fire front might go faster going around me than trying to come through me. And though I have established I can't really wet past that line along there, so the gate can't be wet, so pretty much along there is the limit of my water. I can get most of this stuff here, wet it down, and the water line pretty much comes out here and I can actually wet this little clump of stuff down here, and then the wet line runs along on the neighbour's side of the fence. I don't mind that. And yeah, probably about here I can reach the fence in defence of the hut. And the wet line then, you might even be able to see it. Wet on the left, dry on the right, and I can just barely get that fallen down tree that's been part chopped up for firewood. But yeah, that's your dividing line. I can get to that little dead wattle tree there. And then the wet line comes up along here pretty much to this tree. Watermarks, droplet formations showing in the dirt. And this side of this tree I can wet down. I can't wet it down out over there. Still and all, not a bad little perimeter. And once again, you can almost see the demarcation line on the ground along there. If I stand there level with the back of the brumby, I can sort of wet all this down. And yeah, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's better than having no bucket with no drops in it, eh? $10,000 litres, couple of days work, 3 litres of petrol, and I've put as much water on the ground that I'm living in the middle of as fell down out of the sky, or almost as much, in the month of July. And we're still exploring the limits of how far I can wet down. 36 metre hose is pretty good, you know. These xanthurias here, they all got wet down this morning, and they appear to have enjoyed it. And just about here, this is the limit of how far I can throw water on the ground in a petrol-powered white man's rain dance. And the theory is it's kind of like negative sympathetic magic, you know, like when you mix concrete in order to make it rain, because as soon as you get the concrete mixed, that's when the rain will fall down and ruin your concrete. But what you really wanted was the rain, so mixing the concrete was just the rain dance to get it to rain. Yeah, if I have to throw $800 in the form of 60 tonnes of water, below that 30 tonnes of water out onto the ground, 10 tonnes in the tanks to prepare for spring, better than not doing a rain dance at all. And it's very nice being able to wet that fence line down as well. If you look very carefully, you can see that there is still some non-evaporated water left on the ground as a relic of my efforts to try and give the plants that I share the clearing with some chance of staying alive. Because when they're alive, they've got some chance of not burning me. That's the theory. And now, I do declare it be beer o'clock. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.